Hey, pretty babies. What is going on? What's going on with you guys? All right, we're going to start in about 90 seconds. I just want to make sure we give everybody a nice opportunity to go freshen up, maybe let the dog out real quick, all that good jazz, and then we're going to go ahead and start this show for you guys. Oh man, I cannot believe it's Saturday night. It doesn't feel like it, at least for me. And I think that's because I've been picking up an extra couple of shifts here and there this week. So feels kind of woo. But I tell you what, nothing was more badass than coming home tonight, kicking back, relaxing, and checking out this NWA Empowerrr pay-per-view. And I mean that straight up. I mean that straight up. Been looking forward to this for a couple of weeks now. So you can imagine how giddy I was going into tonight for sure. All right, so we're going to start in about 2 minutes tops. I got the 52-minute mark right now. So about a 54-minute mark, we'll go ahead and we'll officially start the show. All right, so let's see here. I just want to kick back here. And while we're buying everybody enough of an opportunity to do what they got to do, maybe use the restroom real quick. That gives me an opportunity to just throw some last minute tags on here. And then we'll pretty much be rocking and rolling. All right, so for those of you that's just now tuning in, we're going to be starting in about 60 seconds. Again, we're starting at about the 54-minute mark. Let's see here. There it is. Okay, all right, that looks good to me. And what else we got? Tags. There we go. That looks good. Okay, we can work with that. All right. Oh, man. Okay, that looks good. One thing I want to do here. Let's see. Let's put that in subscriber only mode. We'll do that. Yeah, we'll activate that. And let's activate this. And that should be it. Yeah. All right, guys. We're pretty much rocking and rolling now. All right. All right, let's get the recorder on here. Recorder. Give me a good bass line here. Audio check 1, 2, 3. Audio check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, nice and loud. All right, good. All right, you guys. Let's go ahead and let's start this. Hey, good kind people, what is going on? You are checking out a special Saturday night edition of the RCWR show covering all things wrestling, entertainment, and beyond since 2011. Lee Sanders here, columnist for 411 Mania. Man, lot of saltiness that's going on this weekend in regards to AEW Rampage. I'm sure you guys probably got a little bit of an idea what's going on, but we ain't talking about AEW tonight. We're here tonight talking about night 1 of 2 NWA coverage, as tonight was night 1 of NWA's all-women pay-per-view event, Empowerrr. And less than 24 hours from now, we're going to be talking about the NWA 73rd anniversary pay-per-view event. If you guys did not get an opportunity to check out Empowerrr tonight, have no fear. We're definitely going to give you the skinny. Hopefully by now, because I know we've been talking about the NWA product for few months now, since they've pretty much been back, definitely since they've worked out this new deal with Fight TV and everything. Hopefully you've made it your business to get that Fight TV subscription and you've at least been checking out what's been going on with NWA. Hopefully the post shows we've been doing for you guys all over the course of these past several months has enticed you and you've checked it out, seen what's going on and everything. Because tonight, I got to take my hat off literally to all the people behind this NWA Empowerrr pay per view event, whether it be from the people in front of the cameras or working behind the cameras, definitely those behind the scenes. This was a pretty damn good event, I would have to say. Obviously, when you're doing something for the very first time, when you're doing something where this is newfound territory, and you got there's always going to be some wrinkles. There's always going to be some things in which kinks. You just got to work it out. There's always next time, okay? It would be no different than when I had did my Awesome Con panel, and there's a few things that I had took from that as far as the learning experience goes. Okay, don't do this instead, don't do that. So I mean, it happens with the best of us all. So I know there were a lot of people that were complaining about the pay-per-view for the first couple of minutes because all we got was a black screen and we kept hearing one of Mickie James' songs. She's a grown-ass woman. Like, yeah, grown-ass woman, but we got a black screen. What the hell's going on here? That was for about several minutes. A lot of people were complaining, but nobody was really trying to take it upon themselves to find out exactly what was going on from a technical difficulty standpoint. Well, it actually turns out that there were power issues at the Chase Arena there. Yeah, I bet you didn't know about that. Yeah, there's actually some issues going on with the power. And as a result of what was going on with the power, because the power was actually out for a little bit, which in turn triggered an alarm there at the arena. So once everything had got died down, it took several minutes for them to get the power back. It wasn't that long of a delay, at least for those of us that were watching via Fight TV. We were most likely dealing with a black screen. From what I saw, we were dealing with a black screen for about, I would say, 6 to 8 minutes tops. So a little bit of an inconvenience, right? Especially if you paid for it. Okay, you didn't do one of those little raffle contests, so you'd be able to, right? You actually came out of your pocket for it. I get the complaints, but now you kind of know what was going on behind the scenes. But despite that, everything pretty much went off without a hitch tonight as far as Empowerrr goes. So, just overall thoughts of this event. Don't worry, we're going to talk about the matches. Definitely. I'll give you guys, you kind of got an idea how we've been doing it as of late, but just overall, just instant reactions to this pay-per-view event. And I know one elephant that's going to be in the room that we need to address. There's probably going to be those that want to maybe have me compare this to the WWE Evolution pay-per-view. Let me just say off the break, that's an unfair comparison, because anything that you're going to take and you're going to essentially compare to the WWE, that's really unfair, especially from just a production value standpoint, just from what WWE is able to do with their camera guys and all that behind the scenes. Totally, 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 totally unfair. So we shouldn't even go in that route. We should just strictly look at this NWA pay-per-view and just judge it for what it's worth. And I felt, honestly, they hit a home run. Billy Corgan, Mickie James, and crew, everybody involved, I felt that they hit a home run with this one. Was very pleasing to my ears to hear that as far as the tickets go at the gate, they sold out. Like all the seats, they filled up. So that was refreshing to hear. I can't wait to hear specifically how the pay-per-view buy rates did for this event. I think when you factor in those things, you got to just put it all in just one pot. I think that may definitely determine whether or not we're going to get ourselves another Empowerrr pay-per-view event. But my 2 cents from a distance, I actually hope that we do get another Empowerrr pay-per-view, because what they did tonight was definitely that damn good. No bullshit intended, or no pun intended, whatever. But, man, to see Madusa, WWE Hall of Famer, legend Madusa, pop up, badass to see. Awesome Con. I am such a huge fan of Awesome Con. to see her return and just that emotional moment that she had there with Gail Kim, that's the stuff that you just remember for years to come. And you being that wrestling fan, especially a fan that follows all things women's wrestling, you just go, hey, remember back 2021 when Awesome Khan made her return to the ring there, and she had that moment where Gail Kim, like, you just don't forget stuff like that whatsoever. You just don't. So it's funny because I remember several weeks ago, and some of you guys reacted to my ideas, and you gave me a lot of praise. You guys remember when I was saying to you guys, hey, given the fact that Mickie James is pretty much the brainchild behind this, hey, just saying, would be pretty badass if maybe we were to see Trish Stratus make some type of a cameo, kind of really help put this bad boy over. Or hey, how about AJ Lee? That'd be kind of cool if we might be able to see AJ. Hell, Christy Hemme. Remember, I had mentioned a few names there, and a lot of you guys were really taken back by some of those names, to the point I remember some of you guys were going, Lee, you actually think some of these girls would actually pop up? You don't think they would be upsetting the mighty headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut by doing such? And I told you guys, no, I think honestly it's just a matter of what is feasible for those respective women that I had mentioned. Feasible as far as, one, how's their schedule, any conflicts. Two, given the fact that we're still dealing with this pandemic, do they feel safe and comfortable enough to want to travel out, right? Now, sadly, we didn't get any of those names that I had mentioned, but, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. It's a quote, a Meatloaf song. But furthermore, there's always next year. There is always next year. Some of those names I had mentioned that we didn't get on this year's Empowerrr, maybe we can get one or all of them on the next one. So who knows? But, overall, if you're a wrestling fan and you love all things women's wrestling, this was definitely a night for you where you were able to hold your head up high, nod in approval, and say, all right. Yeah, and as far as the direction of where the women's industry is right now when it comes to women's wrestling, it's in a really damn good place right now. I got to tell you, if there's one biggest takeaway that I'm able to take from this Empowerrr event, a lot of the names of the women that were featured on this pay-per-view card, I'm not going to bullshit you guys, a lot of them wasn't familiar with. But after checking them out, seeing what they are about, now going forward, I'm going, okay, you know what? Between now and the next time I see these people, I'm definitely making my rounds. I'm going to try to just be a big old encyclopedia and just be a big old sponge and take in as much info as I can on a lot of these women that I saw tonight, because a lot of them made me a really big fan. Definitely, they made me a really big fan. Now, one thing that was floating around in the air, besides the whole technical aspects that we were talking about earlier to kick off the pay-per-view, Joe Gallion, shout out to Joe Gallion and them, but we kept hearing something about NWA, I guess an Empowerrr pre-show. Right down to the point, Joe Galli even shared a picture of himself with Tim Storm and Austin Idol, and they were talking about how they were getting ready to do the pre-show. And at this point, it was a couple of minutes before 7:30 p.m. Eastern. So I don't know how it was for you guys, but I'm like looking for a link. I'm going, okay, I'm on YouTube. I'm not finding anything. I go on Fight TV. I'm not finding anything. I go on NWA social media pages. I'm not finding anything. And I just use some keywords on social media to see if maybe somebody else had the link. It just wasn't advertised yet. And I was not the only one asking that same question about where's this pre-show? Is there going to be a pre-show? Okay, now we're hearing there's supposed to be a pre-show. Where's the link for the pre-show? When it's all said and done, far as I know, and as far as some of the folks that were asking online, there was no pre-show. Yet, when you look at the full card for what all had went down tonight, there was actually 2 matches that went down that we did not see on the actual pay-per-view. I'm looking at these matches again here, and yeah, there's two matches I'm looking at that I'm going, okay, well, this must have been part of the pre-show, because I definitely came in at the proper start for the pay-per-view, and I saw everything except for these two matches that I'm getting ready to name. And yet, yeah, that's the result that we have here. So remember, at one point we were advertised Sky Blue was going to be appearing at Empowerrr. If you guys had watched this pay-per-view, and you know at the very end, Sky Blue was at ringside, but you're going, well, wait a minute. What happened with Sky Blue being featured? Thought she was supposed to be featured on Empowerrr. Oh yeah, she was featured. Pre-show. Sky Blue defeated Christy Janice singles match. Wish I could give you guys a lot more info on that matchup. Didn't see it. Can't comment on it. Your other matchup, Paola Mayfield with Taryn Terrell and Jennacide. But the main focus was just on Paola Mayfield. She defeated Kenzie Page. That was a straight up one-on-one match. And Kenzie Page had Gail Kim in her corner. Again, those are two matches that did not actually make it on the Empowerrr card. So it is what it is. But the actual pay-per-view itself, oh, I caught all of that. Oh, and I got images too. I tried to get as many images as I could for you guys without really spamming the hell out of things and all that. So on that note, officially, welcome to your NWA Empowerrr pay-per-view recap. Let's go there. All right, so kicking things off. Oh, forgive me there. Let's actually fix that for you guys right now. And I thought I already had that fixed up for you guys. Let's do this. Let's minimize that. For those of you that's only going to be listening to the audio version of this, you're probably like, what is Lee doing? I'm just messing with an image here. Okay, so what we actually want to do is we want to go to the very beginning. And let's see here. There we go. So we're at the very beginning here. All right, now this I will blow up. So everything pretty much was kicking off with Mickie James. Mickie James, whoa, man, was she looking extra attractive tonight. I was really feeling her business suit. It was badass. You guys can't really see this, but the pictures really doesn't do it justice. You really got to see her in real time as she was wearing this suit. It was badass. So as you can see, it was part sleeve, but then there wasn't sleeve on the other side. And then the way it was cut, it was basically half business suit, but then on the other side, yeah, that doesn't have the sleeves and all that. It was almost wrapped around her like a prom dress, basically. There was no drawstring on the opposite side. It was really badass how that attire was. I couldn't help but look at that. Very seldom do I look at a woman's attire and go, now you know what? That's actually badass. Now usually I'll say that's sexy. But in this case, I said, damn, that's sexy. And, ooh, now that's badass. So that was pretty cool how they was cutting it there. So Mickie James kicking it off, thanking the fans there. I'll show you one more of her. There you go. That kind of gives you a better idea what I'm talking about. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, she was stunningly gorgeous tonight. Stunningly gorgeous. I'll leave that there for a couple more seconds for you guys. But she kicked things off, welcoming the fans for being in attendance, thanking them for coming out of their way to check this out. And she opened up by saying, hey, they said that all women's pay-per-view, it just wasn't possible, that it couldn't be done, that it couldn't draw money. So, of course, we know automatically who she's taking shots at by that little bit of a speech that she put out there. We know who she's talking about. Okay, it's all good. It is what it is. But she basically thanked the fans from the bottom of her heart for, coming there and and checking it out and everything. Nice, cool, surreal moment. And, not for nothing, but when you looked at what major demographic for the fans tonight, that was a telling tale in itself. Yes, you definitely saw the women representation for this all women's pay-per-view, but at the same time, there were a lot of men. There were a lot of men that were in the house. A lot of men. And the age demos, I mean, we're pretty much talking about anywhere from 18 to about, I wouldn't be surprised if it was early 50s, give or take. I would not be surprised if it was maybe in that kind of ballpark. But it was pretty surreal. I was really kind of taken back by that. I really, really was, because normally when it comes to the all women's wrestling stuff, very seldom will you find that one promotion, or you'll find that one wrestling pay-per-view that's featuring all women pay-per-view shows or what have you, will you see a decent amount of men that's actually checking this out. Because, I mean, typically, unless it's happening at a bar or something like that, then that explains what's going on with the guys being in attendance. But the demographics for tonight, pretty badass. So, yeah, Mickie James, nice little opener there that she had, getting the crowd nice and set up there. And from there, we go to our... Give me 1 second. I want to just make sure that I didn't miss anything else Mickie James had to say. Another thing that she had said was she decided to go out there, find the best women for the NWA, and she will lean on the women that have also paved the way, all for the sake of that particular moment that was happening there tonight. Meant a lot to her, and she thanked everyone for a night that she didn't think was possible. So from there, now we go to our actual pay-per-view. Kylie Ray representing NWA, Chik Tormenta representing AAA, Diamante representing AEW. Triple threat match. Diamante picking up the victory. Good triple threat match. Fantastic triple threat match. No problem with this matchup whatsoever. Actually, a damn good opener, too, as far as I was concerned. I love the chemistry going on between all three women in this. All three women, they really fucking clicked well together. Some of my biggest trepidations when it comes to triple threat matches is, okay, yeah, obviously when you got a triple threat match, usually there's going to have to be a person that's kind of like the odd man out, while really the focus is on two people, sadly. Very seldom do you see a triple threat match where, no, on the contrary, all three people are actually they're not just doing random shit. They aren't just doing shit just to look cool, but they all are equally contributing to telling the story that they're trying to tell for the fans. And in this particular case, this was one of those rare instances where, for a triple threat, all three women actually were gelling. I mean, it was just synchronicity at its finest, as far as I was concerned. Diamante going over, I didn't have a problem with that whatsoever. Second matchup of the night, the women's tag team semifinal, Hell on Wheels. Hell on Wheels. Renee Michelle and Sahara 7 versus the Hexes, Allysin K and Marti, Belle. Remember, Hell on Wheel on. That's a tongue twister, man. Hell on Heels. Hell on Heels. So you want to say Hell on Wheels very bad, but you kind of have to catch yourself there. But the Hell on Heels, Renee Michelle and Sahara 7 taking on the Hexes, Allysin K and Marti, Belle. Remember when we were here, what was it, Wednesday night, and we were going over NWA Empowerrr preview and predictions. Remember, I was a bit on the fence about this one. I said to you guys, I'm homing in on the Hex, but then I'm also homing in there on my girls Red Velvet and KiLynn King. And I really wasn't sure which way this was going to go. Because if you remember, I initially said, This screams the Hex, but I really like Red Velvet and KiLynn King, and I'm going with Red Velvet and King. But then when we circled back one more time, just to give quick, okay, I'm going boom, 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 boom for my winners. I said at the last second, I said, nah, you know what? I'm gonna switch it up. I'm actually gonna go with the Hex. Because it was hard. It's like, how can you go against the Hex here, man? Seriously, how can you go against them? Hex picking up the victory here against Hell on Heels. But I gotta give Renee Michelle and Sahara 7 mad fucking props. First of all, just from an appearance standpoint, can we all be in agreement? Those of us that watch this, that all the women tonight, beautiful, but just when you were looking at this particular semifinals match, you just couldn't help but go, Lord have mercy, all the beautiful thickness that's going on in the match here. Lord have mercy. And they all are badasses. They all kick mega ass. How about that? Loved it. I freaking loved it. Renee Michelle, such a sweetheart. I've been following her work off and on for a couple of years now. I know she used to do some stuff for what was it, a lingerie fighting league or something like that, maybe lingerie football or something like that. I sadly only seen little clips and stuff online, but I never really was able to get into that type of stuff. Anytime I'm able to see Renee Michelle wrestle, it always puts a smile on my face from the simple standpoint. Remember that period when she was there in WWE and when Drake Maverick was just white hot and he had the whole 24/7 championship thing going on? Only thing Renee Michelle was really doing was just sitting there and wearing these nice outfits, and she was just naturally, just organically getting herself over. I mean, she had some segments where she would do a little talking and all that, but she was quickly becoming a fan favorite, and you would have thought that the traction would have been enough to get WWE's attention and go, okay, we definitely need to try to do something with this girl. What's up? And for whatever respected reason, nothing ever materialized. And it's just kind of one of those head scratching type of things. So far, we've seen Renee Michelle do some stuff for AEW. We've also seen her do some work for Impact Wrestling. So it's nice to see her boom, 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 boom. But me personally, that's how much of a big fan I am of her work. I can see and appreciate how far along she's come in the ring. I really hope that one of these promotions that's out there, I don't care if it's AEW, I don't care if it's Impact, I don't care if it's MLW, or hell, it could be even ROH. I would love to actually see one of these guys actually pick her up on a regular full-time basis rather than just bursts here and there, because honestly with Renee Michelle, that's exactly what's been going on with her since really we saw her on a consistent basis in WWE. We've just seen her in bursts in other promotions, right down to the point it could be many, many months, what have you, before we see her again. I like how I left the Mickie James image up for such a long period of time there. But that's okay. That's okay. All right, we'll get to the women's invitational in a hot minute. As a matter of fact, bear with me a second here. Let me just see. Let me just see the order of these images that I got going on here, because some of these look a little odd to me personally. So let me see where we're at right now. Yeah, let's actually move that down here. Let's move that down here. I'm still playing around with this. You guys got to work with me. I'm still playing around with this new software here that I've had to switch up and start using. Let me just look at everything else. That looks accurate. That's accurate. That's accurate. That's accurate. Yeah, everything else actually looks, hang on. Yeah, everything else is good now. Okay. So now if I do this, yeah, we already talked about that matchup. Yeah, we got to work on these images. I thought all my images were ready to go here, but that's okay. Let's see. Let's come right here. So, you know what? I think just so we don't have it be a case where, look at that. Look at that. My fucking shit got cut off, man. What's up with that? My shit got cut off. Hang on, let me see if I can fix that real quick. There we go. Perfect, perfect. Just playing around with shit on here. Now, if we go like this, we should be good to go now. Okay. Yeah. Damn good matchup. I got to tell you, I remember seeing a little bit of the Hex on the independents here and there, but not enough to really burn in the back of my mind how good Allysin K and Marti Belle are as a tag team. I've always known how good they are individually, although there's been some periods, I'm looking at Impact Wrestling, for example, where I just kind of shook my head and go, Impact, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're not utilizing these girls to their fullest extent. Like, what the hell is going on here? But these girls, man, you're going to do something with a women's division. Yeah, these are the two girls you definitely want to be giving a holler to, without a doubt. Without a doubt. Next matchup. See, look at this. Look at this. Same problem with this one. Look at this one. I tell you what, let's do this. Otherwise, because the last thing I'm trying to do is like continue to pause every single time. So let's just do this. I don't mind. I don't mind it if we just, honestly, that's perfect. All right, so our next matchup, the Freebabes taking on Red Velvet and KiLynn King. This actually was pretty damn good. This actually was pretty damn good. Love this one. Love this one big time. Particularly Red Velvet, KiLynn King. Nothing made me more happier than to see the team of Red Velvet and KiLynn King pick up the victory here. And if you've been following my AEW Rampage coverage these past several weeks on the 411 Mania site, you know by now, you kind of have an idea by now that I'm definitely a fan of Red Velvet. So I'm still a little salty over that match she had with Britt Baker a couple of weeks ago for the AEW Women's Championship. And really, look, I wasn't looking for her to become the champion, but starting off the match, it was a little bit kind of clusterfuckish, just so to speak. And it wasn't Red Velvet's fault at all. It wasn't Britt Baker's fault at all. It was just the matter in which the match was just laid out, just the psychology for the first couple of minutes. But as the match progressed, it seemed to had redeemed itself and everything. So, Red Velvet, to see her pretty much come back from that and be in this nice position right here, which, by the way, Red Velvet and KiLynn King make a pretty damn good tag team. They honestly do. They make a damn good tag team. And, if you're AEW and you're just thinking somewhere further down the road, just saying, you're looking further down the road, might be a good team that you may want to consider pulling the trigger on, because these girls, they definitely, at least for me, they prove that, yeah, you give us the ball, you give us an opportunity, we can definitely go in there and we could fucking hit a home run for you, for sure. So good little tag matchup right there. The Freebabes, Jazzy Yang and Miranda Gordy, along with Hollywood Haley J. Hollywood Haley J interfering a couple of times there throughout this matchup. I mean, honestly, she tried. She tried. I mean, she was really the deciding factor there, because this really could have gone either way. Particularly, I got to give flowers to Miranda Gordy. This girl reminds me, and not just because she's blonde or anything like that, but just for sure the way she's built and her facial expressions, her mannerisms, reminds me a lot of old school Beth Phoenix. Yeah, I haven't seen anything on Miranda Gordy prior to tonight. And to see her, I'm just going, wow, I was really in amazement seeing her work. All the girls from this pay-per-view tonight, and as far as, hey, who really, really stood out to you that you honestly never seen their work before, but you're now a fan of, at the very top of that list, Miranda Gordy. Miranda Gordy, without a doubt. But yeah, very, very empowering, very imposing. I love seeing when Red Velvet tried to get in there and like Red, I don't know, hon. I don't think you got this one. I don't think you're gonna be able to do anything against Gordy, but she tried. She tried, man. She tried to do a little something, something here. Red Velvet, KiLynn King advancing. So now we know who are the two tag teams that's going to be facing off to become the new NWA Women's Tag Champions. Red Velvet, KiLynn King taking on the Hex for your finals. The Hex coming out of there as the champions and the new tag champions. This really could have gone either way. It really, really, and to the point, I think most fans that follow all wrestling, the hell with, and I get, you guys have no idea, and I talked about this with a passion at the panel. This whole, oh, well, this promotion sucks. That promotion sucks. Okay, if that promotion sucks, why broadcast it? You've got MLW, you've got ROH, you've got NWA, you've got, Lord have mercy, we'd be here just all night just going through all the names. Just whatever you don't like, go the opposite route. Just go the opposite route. That's all you got to do. In 2021, there is no reason for fans to be okay. And to the point that I'm making here, with regards to seeing the Hex with the win here, it really could have gone either way. You could have gone the AEW route and Red Velvet and King. You could have easily gone that route. And then as a wrestling fan, okay, great if you're an AEW fan, but just as a, in general, wrestling fan, you're going, well, shit, okay, I'm okay with this because that means we're going to be seeing these newly crowned NWA Tag Champions crossing over, and they're going to be doing their thing here on AEW, and we're also going to be seeing them doing their thing on NWA programming. Okay, so best of both worlds. As a wrestling fan, you win. We all win. Okay, great. But if you're looking at the Hex and you're just thinking about things from, that standpoint, you can still actually kind of make an argument. It's almost the same scenario. Because, on the one hand, you might be able to say, okay, so until further notice, what's going on with the Hex, they're pretty much like NWA exclusive, right? Can you kind of make that argument? To a degree, but not really, because after all, we've seen Allysin K. I'm not too sure about Marti Belle, and that's only because I don't watch enough. AEW Elevation and AEW Dark. I don't watch enough of those, but I know Allysin K has popped up a couple of times there on AEW programming. I'm not sure about Marti Belle, but you as a wrestling fan, you still win either way when you stop and think about it. So to have to choose, though, just imagine that. You're like, man, I got to choose between the Hex and then Velvet and King. And this was my absolute of all the matches that they had on tonight. I got to say, with the exception of Melina taking on Deonna Purrazzo, which we'll talk about in a hot minute, Jesus Christ, man. This match between Velvet and King taking on the Hex, hands down, just excellent. No complaints whatsoever. I know there's guys on social media, they've got their little account where they just follow botches and fucked up moves, and everything was smooth like butter tonight. All the women that was on this card. Now, look, I'm sorry if I'm not giving you guys hold for hold, and this ain't Sports Center, okay? I'm not gonna do that shit. Just order the fucking pay-per-view if you want to get all in the nitty-gritty and all that, right? You want my instant reactions, instant thoughts. I felt that of all the matches, other than Melina, Deonna Purrazzo, and I also got to give flowers to Leyla Hirsch and Kamille. And I never thought I'd be giving flowers to Leyla Hirsch. We'll get to that later on. But yeah, this tag match was pretty damn good. Moving on to a more sentimental, emotional moment that came about during the show, Gail Kim was introduced. And she talks about how she can't believe that she's in that arena in front of the fans, given all the history that is there within that building. And she talked about how for the past 20 years, she's poured her life into professional wrestling, just like all the others that came before her. And now she talks about being able to enjoy the fruits of all the legends' labor, including, her contributions. Now she just gets to sit back, enjoy the fruits of the labor. She hopes that the fans genuinely appreciate and love the passion that she had for the sport of women's wrestling. But then Taryn Terrell comes out along with Jennacide and Paula Blaze, and Terrell takes the microphone from Gail Kim, pretty much makes this be all about her. Uh, Taryn Terrell, as usual, But yeah, Taryn, yeah, she's saying to Gail, I can't believe you came to the NWA just for me, little old me. I am so flattered. Remember all the incredible matches Gail and Taryn had? Taryn was very quick to remind Gail of that. And another thing, she says to her, okay, there's only one room for one legend here in the NWA, and that's me, Taryn Terrell. Gail Kim, bye-bye, right? And she just kept, bye! I was ready to fucking blow my eardrums out, man, seriously. But Gail was standing strong and tall. She wasn't going anywhere. She was not trying to leave whatsoever. She pretty much was, no, if you want to get rid of me, you pretty much are going to have to beat my ass. That's pretty much in so little words, really no words being spoken. Just the fact that she was standing there, not leaving the ring, that pretty much lets you know what was going on there. But wait. As Taryn Terrell kind of gets the impression Gail is fixing for a fight, she decides to sick Paola Blaze and Jennacide on Gail Kim, when all of a sudden we hear this music start playing, wondering who the hell it is. And the next thing you know, it's freaking Awesome Kong. Awesome Kong, and we'll get to that in a little bit. Awesome Kong pops up, and you're going, holy shit. And Awesome Kong, from the last time that you remember seeing her on a regular basis, she still looked, boom, you recognized her just like that. I know there was a period there where she was doing the DDP yoga and she had lost a significant amount of weight. And look, whether she's small Awesome Kong or she's big Awesome Kong, I've always loved me some Awesome Kong. Lee loves the big girls. Lee ain't got no problem with the big girls. Big girls ain't done nothing wrong to Lee, okay? But Awesome Kong, just, you talk about one of the coolest mark-out moments of the night for NWA Empowerrr. Awesome Kong, to see her, like, I don't think anybody would have called that, seriously. So you've got this nice stare down between Gail Kim and Awesome Kong as the fans are just in euphoria. I mean, they are just letting loose on this. And I mean, those two names, and when you think all things women's wrestling, those are two names that you just off the break think about, because they had classic feuds with each other. Classic fucking feuds with each other, man. So just when you think that Awesome Kong is getting ready to throw down with Gail Kim, she actually turns her attention to Blaze and Jennacide, pretty much makes quick work out of them. It was pretty badass. It's pretty fucking badass too, how Colin just pretty much clean house with those two fucking girls, man. Terrence Terrell, meanwhile, she managed to get herself out of Dodge. She ain't want no part of Awesome Kong. Meanwhile, as Gail Kim is pretty much looking on as the girls are making their exit, licking their wounds and all that, Kong is behind Gail, and she's literally blowing into the back of her hair. But Gail Kim is so fixated on wanting to get her hands on them three girls, she doesn't realize Kong is kind of egging her on a little bit. Kong even does a light little tap of the shoulder to Gail, and Gail still is not budging. So finally, once Gail turns around, Kong is just standing right there, leaning on the ropes, but just mean mugging her, and actually calls her into the ring. And you're just going, oh man, is it even possible? Are we maybe about to see some type of an impromptu match here between Awesome Kong and Gail Kim? How fucking badass would that be? But no, we didn't get that. Instead, Kong grabs a microphone and she tells the fans straight up, you guys know I've never been one to talk, and you're like, okay, yeah, that's very true. All right, yeah, you're not much for words. That's very, very true. She talks about how it's been a hard year for her and her family, basically, or the Kong residents, and that the only thing that was going to get her off her couch and away from her yummy ice cream bars is the woman that was standing in the ring next to her, Gail Kim. And she says if she's going to go out, she wants to go out with the toughest bitch she knows. And she says she loves Gail Kim. So, I mean, for me, at that standpoint, when I'm seeing this go down, the very first thing that clicked in my head, I'm going, wait a minute here. Oh, shit. Is Awesome Kong? Like, you're telling me she literally returned just to officially say farewell? Because I'm thinking in the back of my head and I'm going, we never, if it's happened, I don't know anything about it. Somehow it got swept under the rug. But this was the first time I've ever heard Awesome Kong essentially with so little words spoken, hey, I'm retiring. And, if I'm going to come back one more time, I'm really only doing it for this person. And so you're kind of like, whoa, are we just watching something magical here? Are we watching something historic here where Awesome Kong is essentially saying goodbye here? Like, what the hell? Because there was a match that she did back in 2017. I can't remember the opponent that she faced right now, but I'm just thinking about matches she had right before the pandemic came about and everything. And there's just one that stands out to me that she did in 2017. I don't know if she did anything in 2018 or 19. I'll have to rely on you veteran fans for that as far as getting me and everybody else caught up to speed. But to see that emotional moment there and, essentially Gail Kim, grabbing a microphone and telling her, hey, you've always been special to me. We'll always have a bond. Thank you. And the two just hugged it out big time, which led us to this second moment right here. I mean, and it was legit. Kong was bawling out in tears and everything. And that was just, if your heart didn't melt for that particular moment right there, you're just an insensitive bastard as far as I'm concerned. You must have not been checking out a good chunk of Awesome Kong's matches from back in the day. Actually, you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it more, for whatever respected reason, nothing materialized because it just came back to me. We were talking about Awesome Kong's matches there. Yeah, there was something she did in 2017, but how soon I forget. She did do something for AEW. I can't believe I almost forgot about that. Skylar Moore. Matter of fact, there was a couple of joints that she did for AEW. There was about 4, maybe 5 matches, give or take, that she did for AEW. And it was in the span of late 2019 going into early 2020. And then pretty much after that, that was it. Because right before she did some stuff there with AEW, there was a couple of sporadic appearances she did in 2017. And the one match that I'm thinking of from 2017, there's actually two that come to mind right now. There's one that she did with Taya Valkyrie, and then there's another one she did with Deonna Purrazzo. Both of those were in 2017. So sometimes you got to give me my memory's not as it used to be, but sometimes I can pull the cobwebs when you least expect it. But yeah, so she's pretty much been right. So I guess this was her swan song, so to speak. And if tonight was her swan song, then you know what? What a cool way to fucking go out. I mean, you're pretty much going out with one of your greatest in ring adversaries in wrestling history. Definitely, yeah, as far as women's history goes and all that, what better way to go out than with one of your greatest rivals and friends, and to go out in such a way where you're doing it on this momentous event here dubbed NWA Empowerrr. Yeah, good fucking shit right there. Good fucking shit right there. I didn't get teary eyed or anything like that, but I did get very very fucking sad. I legit got very very sad, and it's just kind of one of those. When I look back on the career of Awesome Khan, yeah, man, you just saw the potential that was there for her in WWE, and not to go down that rabbit hole, but you can't help but wonder if those unfortunate circumstances back then when she was with WWE, if it did not occur, what would have became of her career in WWE? You can't help but wonder that. That's why it's, I know for what it's worth, I know a lot of people give Nia Jax a hard time. Whenever she's being reckless, she's being, but it's sad because when something goes wrong, Nia Jax always gets the blame. But when Nia Jax, for that one night, she shows up and she shows up correct, she doesn't get that equal praise. There's little praise that's given to Nia Jax. I bring up Nia Jax because I look at her and just everything that's built up around her and everything, and I just can't help but sometimes, Awesome Khan probably would have been all right, just as she was. You can't help but wonder what would have became there, right? Just kind of one of those things. I don't know how it is for you guys, but it's always kind of nagged at me a little bit off and on over the years there. But great touching moment right there. From there, Impact Knockouts Championship match was up next. This one, Deonna Purrazzo defending the title against Melina. Oh, Lord have mercy. Two of my favorites. Lord have mercy. I'm a little concerned about Melina, though, man. I don't know where she got injured, because after we had got the Invitational finale there, we saw Melina come out. She was limping, and she was actually around. She was like leaning her support, wrapping her arm around somebody. I can't think who it was, but she was limping towards the stage ramp area there, and you're going, And I hope I have this wrong, but it kind of seems to me that Melina maybe tweaked it when she was doing the leg split. I could be wrong. I'm hoping it was actually during the match. The only reason why I'm saying she probably tweaked it when she was doing the leg split is because when she was making her usual grand entrance and she was doing the split, she got back in the ring kind of gingerly, and she was really favoring that leg after that. She like instantly, as soon as she did the split and she slid herself into the ring there, she almost kind of, okay, I gotta, that didn't feel quite right. And then she just started shaking it a little bit there. So hopefully, everything's all right there with that leg. Hopefully what we saw of her tonight afterwards, after her match and all that, and she was coming back out there. Hopefully, she's just old school like that, and she's just going, "Oh yeah, I got to make sure I sell the hell out of that leg injury because not for nothing, but when you just look at the whole beautiful blueprint of what was laid out in this match between Melina and Deonna, just from a technical standpoint, you want to look at a straight up bona fide solid technical matchup. Melina and Deonna, they fucking brought it tonight. My hat's off to both women. I mean, this was just a great back and forth. And this one felt as though, many times for me at least, it felt as though, man, Melina really could fucking win this title here. And, you know, Deonna, the story for Deonna there, Deonna early on was focusing on legs of Melina, and that had paid off big dividends because, man, she put on this nasty ass half Boston crab on Melina. And you're just going, look, I've seen my fair share of half Boston crabs, but damn, the way Deonna just pretty much modified it and did her own, she put her own stamp on that Boston crab. I would love to see that be part of her repertoire. I would love that. I would love to see that be part of her moveset permanently. Cause man, she put some serious torque on that bad boy. Beat her, as a matter of fact, with that half Boston crab. You know, that's the other beautiful thing that, you know, I liked about how these matches were so structured tonight. I mean, everything just made sense. There was no silliness. There was no, why are they, you understand what I'm saying? Like, you just would have had to watch to exactly know what I'm talking about there. But Deonna Purrazzo continuing to be your Impact Knockouts champion. Next up, the NWA Women's Tag Team Title Tournament. We talked about that already. I don't have anything additional to say for that matchup. But we did get a cameo by, where is she? Where is she? I have to go back, don't I? Here she is, right here. We got a nice cameo from WWE legend, WWE Hall of Famer, Madusa. Awesome seeing Madusa. Now, look, I know that one of the last times we saw Madusa on, what was it? Well, we saw her a little bit AEW programming, and we also saw her in WWE there. Yeah, kind of hit and miss there, right? Maybe she hit one too many kegs of beer. Who knows? But no, Madusa tonight, no bullshit, because there were times over the years, let's be honest, and we got to be honest because that's part of our show motto, keeping it honest, insightful, interactive since 2011. So here's the honesty part. There's been a few instances there where you're kind of listening to Madusa and you're going, well, I'm sorry, what? What did you say? Huh? What? That doesn't make any sense. Let's be honest, right? Right? If I'm lying, I'm done. But tonight, oh, Madusa. Oh, she showed up. I loved Madusa on commentating, man. By the way, Joe Galley, Velvet Sky, you know, look, I know Velvet Sky has her favorite fans out there. Can't stand her. She's really trying, and she is improving. And I when I know that somebody I can literally physically see and I can hear when they're making the effort, that's all I can ask for, man, is that you're at least making the effort. And if I can tell you're at least making the effort to be better, you fucking win me over. You fucking win me over. And whoever it is that is just continuing to help her out and everything, it's been paying off. And I got to tell you, this was the most energetic, most animated I've heard Velvet Sky. Now, look, is she Beth Phoenix level? No. Is she Renee Young? No. No. She's still in last, but she's slowly chipping away and she is getting better. And tonight, unless you can show me better, I felt that tonight what Velvet Sky did on commentating was her best commentating work to date since she's been with the NWA. So, as I always like to tell you guys, I do my best to give praise when praise needs to be given, but I also criticize, and when I do, I offer constructive feedback, ways of improvement. It's not just, we don't do like some people and just bitch, 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 bitch. No, that's not how we roll. Okay? We could have a whole field day just bitch, 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 right? Probably get a lot of hits, clicks, all that, but nah, you get the point though. But yeah, she did pretty good. There was one guy, I've seen him before, and you got to forgive me because I don't see him enough. So sadly, I don't have his name down yet, but there was another guy, not Tim Storm either. Tim Storm was there pretty much for, I believe, the main event match, really. But there was another guy that was with Joe Galley and Velvet Sky throughout the night. And I remember seeing him before. And I remember when I saw him before, I think he was in his wheelchair. I believe he's normally in a wheelchair, but tonight he wasn't in a wheelchair. So I don't know the guy's name. I'm so sorry. I don't mean any disrespect, but anybody that wants to maybe chime in, and you want to remind us of that guy's name, whether it's live or you're watching this on demand, you want to remind us of the guy's name, feel free to do so. And yeah, it fucking sucks. But the point I wanted to make with that guy on commentating, I liked him. It was kind of interesting because you could tell that between he and Joe, definitely, there's that past history there, that there's already an establishment there. So as a result of that, you've already got that chemistry. But it kind of seemed to me as though this guy was kind of finding his groove, finding his rhythm with Velvet being in the mix. And then as a result of that, trying to make sure he's picking his spots wisely to get in his 2 cents and everything, but then also at the same time feed Velvet a little something, and Velvet's pretty much bouncing off of that. Right, trying to find that nice balance and everything. And at first, I'll admit, at first it came off a little bit rocky, but as the night progressed, they started to find their groove. And the most simplistic analogy that I can think of, it'd be no different than you've been hosting a podcast with somebody for such a significant period of time, and then the next thing you know, that person is out sick. They gotta miss at least that respected week show. Somebody that said, hey, anytime you need some help, hit me up. And you go, hey, you want to be my co-host for this show? And they go, okay, yeah, sure, what the hell? But you guys have never before, right? And so, yeah, maybe those first couple of minutes, maybe that first 15, 20, 30 minutes, you all are kind of filling each other out, trying to find those sweet spots. And then once everything starts heating up and it gets really, really good, all right, now we're cooking with gasoline, right? Kind of one of those type of deals. But yeah, as the night progressed, they definitely seem to get better and better with each other. Moving along. Yeah, we only got a couple more matches to talk about here, too. As a matter of fact, yeah, we're now on we got two more matches to talk about. We're now on the NWA World Championship, World Women's Championship match. Kamille defending the title against Leyla Hirsch. Now, before this match had began, Billy Corgan introduced the NWA Women's title that was last held by Mildred Burke in 1954 to signify her legacy and how far women's wrestling has come. So why is this important? Well, all of this is important because Billy Corgan had introduced this title that we haven't seen essentially since August 20th of 1954. And you guys can correct me if I'm wrong that watched the pay-per-view tonight, but from what I kind of gathered when that title was being presented, you were given the impression that from this night going forward, whoever was going to be the NWA Women's Champion, they were going to push that title that Mildred Burke last had. At least that was the impression I was under. If I'm wrong about that in any type of way, guys, let me know. But man, here we are tonight, and we're talking about NWA and all of that. And I can't stress it enough. And I actually have it right here. I can't stress it enough. I've mentioned it on the show many times over the years. If you're a fan of all things pro wrestling, old school wrestling in particular, you're a fan of women's wrestling and just trying to understand the history of it and all that, you got to get this book. You got to get this book right here. You got to get this book by Jeff Lean. I'm going to show you guys this right now. The Queen of the Ring by Jeff Lean. You got to pick up this book. This is a fantastic book. And when you just learn, it's the Mildred Burke story. And when you just learn everything that was going on with Mildred, and her husband, who was a promoter, and just what a slime bag. Seriously, what a slime bag this guy was. And just the way that, he essentially had put the screws to Mildred. You're just like, wow. And I'll never forget, and I don't know what the status is now, but I remember when I had saw Jim Ross for his one-man show at DC Improv many years ago. He brought up the fact that he was working with somebody in Hollywood, and they were trying to figure out a way to clear getting the rights and some other stuff. He wanted to actually, he was actually chatting with Jeff Lean, and he wanted to try to see about making a movie or some type of a documentary series or something based off of Mildred Burke. So that was so many years ago. I don't know what became of that, but at the time when he was talking about it, he was talking about that bad boy passionately, like he was really, really, really trying to have it, take off from the ground up and everything. And it sounded like maybe things were going pretty good with some of the stuff that he had told us at DC Improv and everything, but it's pretty much been ice cold ever since. But, you checked out NWA Empowerrr, and, you want to learn a lot more about Mildred Burke. You want to learn a lot more about that NWA women's title and everything. This is a good place to start. I don't know how much it's going for now on Amazon or eBay. Hopefully you can still find copies and it's at a reasonable price, because, sadly sometimes, it's not like this dropped last year. You feel where I'm coming from? This dropped many, many years ago. As a matter of fact, let's see if we can kind of tell you. Let's see if we can kind of tell you maybe when this had came out here. Trying to see if I can find a year on here. I am seeing 2009. I'm seeing 2009. So when you have something that's from 2009 and you're essentially talking about almost 15 years later, basically, you may have kind of a difficult time finding copies of this at a reasonable price. You may have to actually spend a lot more and everything. But looking at the history of that NWA women's title, there was a lot of fucked up shit that had went down I won't bore you guys, but the person that Mildred Burke had faced for the championship going into August 20th of 1954, basically it was a 2 out of 3 falls match. I can't think of her opponent right now. Sometimes my mind is just that fuzzy. It sucks, I know, but rewind it back. All you got to do is just type in Mildred Burke, August 20th, 1954. It was a 2 out of 3 falls match. And basically, when it was all said and done, the screws literally got put to her. And she pretty much was cheated out of, I mean, like, legit. You know, there's that Bret Hart Montreal screw job. Well, this was the original Montreal, and it was the legit screw job that they did to her. And essentially, once they stripped her of the title and all that, as some of you guys know, she ultimately had went on and she had started up another promotion, and she recognized herself as the women's champion for that promotion. Like as far as she was concerned, you know, hell, I might not have the NWA Women's Championship anymore, but I'm still the women's champion. And so when that other promotion had started up and everything, she pretty much had continued to dub herself the champion. And then, you know, you kind of went through that period there where the NWA Women's title was kind of recognized there by the AWA, and it's a whole lot of weird shit that had went down there. A whole lot of shit. But you look up what was going on between the split from Billy Wolf. You also look at the shit that was going on with NWA. Yeah, that's all I gotta say. It's just, it's kind of fucked up. It really is. It's really fucked up. Especially when you're trying to put yourself in a position where, you know, you can prove that the women, back then, of course, where the women can be just as entertaining and put on great matches as the men, and you got all that fucking red tape that's going on. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about the NWA Women's Championship match here between Kamille and Leyla Hirsch. I got to give these women both their flowers. But most importantly, I got to give mad respect to whoever had laid out this match, because whoever laid out this match, man, if they ain't already been hired full time, hire them full time. If they are hired full time, tell them Lee said to get them a PlayStation 5. Seriously, because I love the way the psychology was laid out in this match. I fucking loved it. You know, here you've got Leyla Hirsch. Now, see, this is where we're probably gonna diverge here, but you look at, no bullshit, you look at how Leyla Hirsch has been booked in AEW. Big kind of head scratching. Some of y'all might not think so, but I'm gonna call it how I see it. Head scratching and just kind of silly. Right down to the point, you just look at Leyla Hirsch and you just afterthought. Let's be consistent here. I was just on this show most recently, but definitely off and on these past couple of weeks, and I said to you guys, man, look at the way AEW has been not booking Leyla Hirsch. She's got this match that's coming up against Kamille for this championship, and you would swear that Tony Khan and them saw the backlash on social media, all the memes, all the jokes that was running around about this matchup, and you could almost make an argument that it was, okay, hands off. We're not going to even bother promoting this. Let's just do some spots there with Kamille, and that's it. We don't even need to bother with Leyla Hirsch. We're just over and done with. Remember that? Brought that up a couple of times, past couple of weeks. I even flat out said this looks very laughable. But man, the way that this match was laid out tonight, kudos. Kudos to whoever laid this match out, because they made Leyla Hirsch, they They totally understood the Leyla Hirsch character. And, it was essentially, okay, well, you're on our pay-per-view, so you're in our universe. Okay. Yeah, we kind of got an idea how they're doing you over there. But that's irrelevant. Yeah, no. We're gonna build you up so good. We're gonna make you look like $1,000,000. Nah, you're in really good hands over here in this universe. We got you. And I mean, NWA, they had her looking like a legit threat to Kamille's championship. To see Leyla Hirsch not just use her speed, but to also use her amateur wrestling background and just German suplexes to freaking Kamille. Like, you're going, whoa. To see her cleverly figure out ways to get Kamille in a submission hold. I love the fact that also, here's one of my biggest problems with some of these matches that we get sometimes when we got this whole David and Goliath thing that's going on. Sometimes when it comes to David and Goliath, within 90 seconds, we fucking see Goliath flat on his ass. And you're like, the fuck? I like the fact that Leyla Hirsch, and the way this match was set up, Leyla Hirsch did not instantly plant Kamille on the canvas. I love the fact that, no. You're going to have to do a lot more if you want to take Kamille off her feet and you want her to be laid out on the canvas. You're going to have to do a lot more than that. And that's exactly what Hirsch had to do. Right down to the point, I love the fact that Hirsch was pretty much going low. She's doing drop kicks to the knees and striking it, like all kinds of cool I loved it. I ate it up. And Kamille was just selling like a mofo. That's probably one of my pet peeves with Kamille early on there, is that, okay, for everything appearance-wise, man, she sells big time. But when it comes to her really selling and ass kicking, sometimes she can come off no selling. She's been cleaning that up. She's been doing better, definitely better. But this was an instance here where Kamille was just really going above and beyond to really sell here. It wasn't overly animated by any stretch. Nothing like that whatsoever. Kamille literally was like, okay, this is about this title. We need to make this be competitive. Okay, we hear the shit that some people are saying online, including that fucking Lee Sanders. Fuck you, Lee Sanders. Yes, I know. All right, let's fucking go there and let's fucking hit a home run. And that's exactly what these girls did. I love this. I love this match. Even when Kamille had tried to go for her trademark spear the first go round, and Leyla Hirsch just whoopsie. I mean, the way she just leapfrogs over Kamille, you're going badass, fucking badass. And Kamille just keeps getting herself caught up in the trenches of submission holds and suplexes by freaking Hirsch. This looked like, and you know what was really telling as well? To see the fans' faces in attendance as they all were heavily invested in this matchup. It was interesting because when Leyla Hirsch came out for introductions, she got mad love from the crowd. When Kamille came out, not so much. But to see the amount of fans that legit had excitement in their faces and watching what Leyla Hirsch was doing, that for I was really taken back, just everything, just the overall presentation. Now, here's the problem that we got going forward here. Here's the problem that we got going forward here. Many fans that saw this display tonight probably are going to be left to the impression this is what they're going to get when they watch Leyla Hirsch in the AEW spectrum on a weekly basis. I don't know about that. Just given the way things are right now. Now, look, things can change. Surely Tony Khan and them were paying very close attention to how their AEW stars were booked, even if they're at the receiving end of a defeat. Surely they're looking at how their talents were handled, and I would like to believe that when they're looking at Leyla Hirsch, hopefully they're saying to themselves, okay, these guys seem to have a better blueprint on, okay, we need to stick with that blueprint. We need to modify it, do some tweaks here and there, but they totally understand this character. We need to see if we can kind of take this blueprint here, run with it, put our own little spin to it, try to make it better if possible. And that's, I think, the biggest problem that AEW may have on his hands going forward here. I tell you this much. You just did NWA Empowerrr. If you're AEW and you're going into the very next week, the weekend after NWA action, to not book any of your AEW women that was on this card tonight would be very foolish. Would be very, very foolish. And the names I'm looking at particular, for sure, King, KiLynn King, Red Velvet, for sure. Leyla Hirsch, definitely eyeballing her. Those are my main three. To not do anything with those respected three women on all those AEW shows for this week, head scratcher. Now, look, you got one of them that's taped. And then even at that, there's kind of really no excuse. There really is no excuse for if you're doing a tape show, if you're AEW. But then again, because it depends. It's like, okay, well, did they get the results? And if they did get the results ahead of time, will it kind of reflect, right? It's kind of one of those type of things. But we'll see what happens. But that was a really great competitive match. By the way, I do see some of you guys' comments. I really need for you guys to just stop with this whole WWE. Why can't we just, without mentioning WWE, especially in a negative light? Here's my challenge to you guys for one whole week. Let's see if you can talk about your favorite wrestling promotions without mentioning WWE, without mentioning the competitor. Because if you're really a fan of somebody's product or work, you're not going to ever mention a competitor. So that's my challenge to you guys for a whole week. Just quietly, yeah, Lee, okay, I'll take you up on that challenge, and let's see what you guys can do. We should all just be NWA, and that's it. There should be no, because I'm going to tell you something. The only way there probably will not be a NWA Empowerrr 2, Empowerrr 3, and so forth is if the pay-per-view buy rates were pretty low. Now, you guys need to prepare yourself. It's kind of interesting because, we've got all these, people in the woodworks normally don't give a damn about NWA. And that's the honest truth. I'm not taking any shot at you guys specifically, but there are legit people that do not give a damn about NWA. Right down to the point, I've seen this with my own two eyes in one of the Discords I'm a moderator for. I take time out of my schedule on a weekly basis to show NWA. And you usually get the same 3, 4, 5 people that bitch complain about NWA. Don't watch the NWA product. They aren't watching the NWA stream when I'm showing the stuff. But they're bitching. They're throwing shade. All this other shit. It got to a point where I just said, okay, you know what? Fuck this. Because why should I even waste time and energy to stream, some cool show that I like and other people like, and you got the same 5, 6 jackasses that are showing up. Oh, but the minute we get a WWE diss that's brought up by said promotion, now all of a sudden the same people that didn't give a fuck about NWA or insert that wrestling promotion, now they're just like, no, fuck you in the horse you rode on. No. So that's my challenge to you guys. Without mentioning a competitor for one whole week, again, you like, great, you like, but this whole stuff about Vince and then WWE, like, do you guys not get it by now? WWE doesn't care what NWA or those other guys are doing. They're just worried about them. So I ask you, the wrestling fans, especially you NWA fans, why even waste the time and energy on that other company? This is supposed to be about a product that you guys have been loving for however many months or years. Why even mention that other company? If you have any trepidations about another Empowerrr and all that, you really need to be, look, that's great that they've got the gates for tonight. They said they were sold out. That's great. But what's up with them pay-per-view buy rates? That's the real question, because history has shown when you look at some of the previous NWA pay-per-view buy rates, it's not really nothing to be bragging about, especially the last one, considering what's been going on with this new Fight TV package deal that they're doing. Where now NWA is pretty much behind a paywall. So you want to watch new episodes of Power, it's all behind a paywall. Sure, us diehards, to a degree, we eat, sleep, breathe, and, we spend all our time showing them love and all that. Yeah, but sadly, it still comes down to, but is it making money? Nobody's saying you got to be drowning in it. You got to be a fucking millionaire. But are you seeing cash flow positive? That's the whole point. Are you seeing cash flow positive? Good title defense by Kamille. Great title defense by Kamille. Looking like a fucking beast. Loving it. NWA Women's Invitational Cup Gauntlet. Your participants, exactly. And they came out in this order. Chelsea Green, Kiera Hogan, Bianca Carelli, Santina Morella's daughter, Thunder Kitty, Jennacide, Lady Frost, Debbie Malenko. We got a correction to make, too, in regards to Debbie Malenko. A couple of weeks ago, and I don't know how I had got this information. Maybe you could say I assumed or whatever, but I had put some misinformation out there about Debbie Malenko, and I just want to straighten that up and everything. So hopefully you hardcore wrestling fans, definitely you fans that's into the women's wrestling, you all know that Debbie Malenko, she pretty much had trained with the Malenkos. And essentially that is how she pretty much got to be able to call herself a Malenko. She is not a Malenko by blood. I do hope, you guys realize that by now, because I know there was some information I had put out a couple of weeks ago, kind of conflicting, and definitely a few head scratchers there. So definitely want to stress that. Let's see, Jamie Senegal, Marsha Slamovich, and Tootie Lynn. They all came out in that order. It's kind of interesting too because at one point it kind of got rumblings that Thunder Rosa was supposed to be in this, but was no Thunder Rosa in this. Kind of interesting, yeah, kind of interesting. But it is what it is. Your winner, Chelsea Green, winning it all. She last eliminated Tootie Lynn with the kill switch to pick up the dub here. Chelsea Green winning it. I don't have a problem with that. I actually don't have a problem with that. For me, I thought that, and remember when we were going over match predictions, I dealt with the card as it stood for that night, and they had slated in there Thunder Rosa. I know you guys recall that. So I actually said Thunder Rosa. Had I known Thunder Rosa was not going to be in this, no, I would not have gone with Chelsea Green. I would have gone with Jennacide. How honest is that, right? Either way, I still would have lost, right? But Chelsea Green, look, I mean, she is the hottest fucking woman out there. I mean, she's doing her stuff in Impact, doing her stuff for ROH. I mean, this girl is just, she is working it right now. She is working it. You know, I won't say she's the hottest free agent, but you could definitely make a pretty damn good case. Hey, man, you want to do something with your women's division, you definitely should be giving a nice, good, hard look at Chelsea Green. And yeah, man, she's been tearing it up, man. Who would have thought that all that stuff that was going on there in NXT, Robert Stone brand, all that shit, who would have thought she'd have been able to truly capitalize off of that and be this great hot commodity that we see before our eyes right now? It's amazing. It really is. And see, here's the sad part. Here's the sad part about all of this. Although hardcore Green fans always know. I was a late bloomer when it came to Green. I wasn't always a fan of her work. It really wasn't until the tail end of her run and Impact that I kind of start getting into her gimmick and all that. And then she goes over WWE and all. But us hardcore Green fans, we know that the girl can fucking wrestle. We know she can fucking wrestle. We know, her look, all that. We know she should be right up there with the best. So to see her in this position, winning this Invitational Cup Gauntlet, she's going to go on to face Kamille at NWA 73. Should be a damn good matchup. I mean, you're talking about two diverse styles of in-ring action when you look at Kamille taking on Leyla Hirsch, and now we're going to go to Kamille taking on Chelsea Green. Oh my God. Now, you know what? They should be almost even in height, but Kamille should beat her just by a little bit. I would think width-wise, though, I would think Kamille kind of has that as well, but just by a little bit. This should be a well-rounded, pretty good matchup. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to be able to do at NWA 73 coming up in less than 24 hours. Should be pretty good. Let's see. Other than that, yeah, that pretty much was it. Everything pretty much ended with all the women coming out, celebrating, Chelsea Green holding the cup up high, and pay-per-view pretty much went off just like that. Although there was one hilarious part where when Lady Frost comes out, the cameraman just stays on Lady Frost. And God bless Lady Frost because, or at least the wrestling gods do bless Lady Frost. I don't know if she knew something weird was going on or what, because from the minute that she comes from the gorilla position, she goes down the ramp, she goes over to the freaking side of the ring, because she never enters the ring. She's pretty much having the mindset, just let all these people do the work. I'll just go in and pick up the scraps when mofos least expect it. but the cameraman just stays on her. And you see the lower third for her graphic there for about at least 5 minutes. And I put out a funny tweet. I said, damn, I said, I guess the cameraman went on strike or something. I guess he really loves him some Lady Frost and Taryn Terrell because he's yet to switch over to the other cameraman. What the hell's going on? Is he on strike? And it was like that for just 5 minutes where you just had that one angle with Lady Frost and Taryn Terrell and they're interacting and everything. And Lady Frost she never let up on her character. She just continued to play around and everything. I don't know if she even knew what was going on there, but she just stayed with it. And I just geeked out at that. I loved it. I laughed. I geeked out at that. I loved it. But I mean, really, despite those two little technical hiccups, everything else was still pretty much good for the most part there. Still pretty much good. So 1 to 10, I'll give this pay-per-view I would give this, just looking at the matches here again, and they all were pretty damn competitive. All of them were pretty much worthy of being on this pay-per-view card too. I would probably give it a respected, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. I can't go any higher. I won't go any lower. 8 out of 10. I feel, though, that if you were to ask me what would have made the number higher for the pay-per-view, I think what would have made it a higher number for me is if we could have maybe gotten that Trish Stratus. If maybe we could have gotten that AJ Lee. If maybe we could have, you know what I'm saying? Maybe we could have gotten a Lita. That really would have been badass if we could have gotten some of those. But, there's always next year. I wasn't looking for all of those girls to pop up, mind you. Just one of those girls for Empowerrr. And I just kind of felt that, with that core group that's all basically connected with Mickie James, because you could essentially play the Kevin Bacon game there with Mickie James. Yeah, I just kind of felt that somehow one of those women was maybe going to pop up, but we didn't get that. But, there's always next year. And again, people that want to see more Empowerrr events, first and foremost, you can't just cherry pick. You can't just support one thing. You got to take everything with it. So my message to you guys that maybe saw Empowerrr, will be seeing Empowerrr, you end up liking it, you want more of it, the only way you're going to be able to really, you got to let your voices be heard. Definitely social media. That's for starters. Number 2, merchandise. Companies pay attention to that. Number 3, when it comes to events and you're able to purchase tickets, you're able to go to those events, capitalize. You're not able to capitalize on going to the events in person, but you have a opportunity to check out a pay-per-view. Then you got to check out the pay-per-view. Come out of pocket, check it out. All of these things, when you add them all up, it's so detrimental. It really is, especially to the further growth, the further development for some of your favorite wrestling promotions. And that's really the only way we're going to continue. Why do you think there's never been another WWE Evolution? I get some people, yeah, how about that? Yeah, WWE's fucked now. Yeah, Mickie James showed them, blah, 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 blah. If WWE is basically saying, look, based off our analytics, based off blah, 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 this is what happened. Now, look, one could make a really good argument that, well, that respected all women's pay-per-view truly wasn't successful because it didn't have the full media blitz. It didn't have the full, you could kind of make that argument. You could definitely kind of make that argument to fit that narrative. For every pro argument, there's a con. Okay? There's a con. But, let's not rush too fast here. We got to take things one thing at a time. And, to kind of quote on what Nick Aldis has said in a recent interview, he pretty much has said the way that they're trying to do this Empowerrr event, Mickie James has pretty much said the same thing as well. Pretty much a yearly event. If something can manifest from it where they're doing something on a more consistent basis, everything is revolving around women and all, okay, then so be it. But we as fans, we got to make sure we're doing our part so that NWA can even get to that point. You feel where I'm coming from? So just food for thought. See what some of you guys are saying in the chat here. Some of what you guys said in the chat, though, I kind of already responded to off and on here. So let's see what we got here. NWA Empowerrr shows how to represent women's wrestling right. I'm not going to even read that last part, MDH. Look, not for nothing. Shine, Shimmer, WSU. I'm just saying. Women's Extreme Wrestling. Sparkle. I'm just saying, these are women's wrestling promotions that have been at it for years. Just saying. They've been at it for years. So NWA is a little bit late to the dance. Better late than ever. But they did good. But let's not beat around the bush and let's not bullshit people. NWA, what they did here tonight, wasn't truly innovative or, let's be 100 here, okay? Because there's other promotions that long time ago. Hell, even Wow, Women of Wrestling, let's definitely show them some love. Hopefully they'll be back on the saddle sometime in the near future. We'll have to see what the future holds for them. Let's see what else we got here. I see Trevor's comment, but there's no reason to bring that up. I'll read it, but Trevor's basically saying, and Vince said women only show what are you trying to say, first of all, Trevor? And Vince said women only show, let's clean that up. And Vince said a women's only show would not make money. They showed him to be wrong. Let's not go there yet because we don't know the pay-per-view buy rates. We don't even know how many people were in attendance tonight strictly for Empowerrr. We heard sold out, but then the question becomes, okay, how many seats were you able to fill up at that arena tonight for that particular event? And how much were those tickets selling for? Most importantly, what was going on with those pay-per-view buy rates? That's the other thing that we got to look at. And then you also got to factor in the social media engagements. You also got to follow up and see what podcasts have been saying about the pay-per-view event. You got to see the editorial pieces on websites, things of that nature. It's a whole lot more than just doing a show and just pretty much, yeah, I'm sold on that. So much more that goes into it than that. So to those of you that have saw NWA Empowerrr this weekend, definitely sound off. I want to know what you guys have thought about the pay-per-view. Let me know. And in the meantime, let's stick a fork in it. Let's say this show is DONE done. One down, one more to go. I'll be with you guys again this Sunday, August 29th, after NWA 73 goes off the air. That should be a fantastic card. I'm looking forward to it. And we'll be back here live streaming on multiple outlets as always. You notice, no Twitch. We're done with the Twitch. I told you guys I was pulling the plug on Twitch. So only way you're going to be able to catch us now, you'll be able to catch the show on YouTube. Periscope, Facebook. Hey, you've been watching up to this point. Do me a huge favor if you haven't done so already. Helps me out a ton. Make sure you hit that like button when you do that. Really helps push the content out there more for other folks to check out with ease. Helps our channel become more discoverable. Do that. Appreciate that in advance. Definitely you can get at me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram as well. Say hello while you're at it. Twitter at the RCWR show. And other than that, oh, by the way, I can't believe I almost forgot about that. The video package that was done for Wrestling at the Chase by John Goodman, fucking badass. Fucking badass. Loved it. Fucking loved it. I would definitely encourage you guys to go out of your way and check it out when you guys get a chance. You can check it out on NWA's YouTube channel. But John Goodman, that was just, when I first heard that, I was actually on my lunch break, and I'm just on my phone, and I'm like, oh, yeah, what's going on with NWA? Because I'm figuring they're doing a little bit of blitz stuff, media blitz stuff, leading up to the event. And I see this one joint about John Goodman. I'm like, wait, what? And they had John Goodman do some freaking narrating for the opening of NWA 73. I'm going, that's badass. That's fucking badass. It just, and it fits. It fucking fits. And I know there's some people that are kind of going, of all the people, why John Goodman? That makes no fucking sense whatsoever. Like, you could have gone with any fucking name that's out there. Why the hell are you going with John Goodman? Well, first off, why not John Goodman? I mean, he's got that right kind of raspy voice that's husky and you know, got that bass to it and everything. First of all, why would you not want to go with John Goodman? Second of all, the guy was born and raised in Missouri. Went to school in Missouri and everything. So, you know, there's a lot of history. It all intertwines there. So I know some people were kind of scratching their heads a little bit there on that, but now you kind of know what was going on there. All right, y'all. So that's going to do it. I want all y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. I will definitely see you guys next go around. If you're waiting for the audio version of this, give me about 45 minutes or less, and I should actually have this ready for you guys. All right? Take care, y'all. Peace.